So y'all, I finished Black Rabbit, and I'll say this. I feel like this was a masterclass in brotherhood, in familial relationships, and just how far you'll go for your family. Get it, don't be timid when you ain't it, love upon it, give along, need it. My name is Ashley, and this is My Sweet Perspective, where I give my take on all things TV and movie related, and I am here to put you on, okay? Back to talk Black Rabbit, episodes 5 through 8 of the limited series that aired on Netflix last week at this point. And I did my 1 through 4 review. If you haven't checked that out, go check out that video first and then come back. But we wrap up the season, y'all, and we find out that there was loss of life at the invasion at the club, and we find out that Vince and the little degenerate Mancuso son was in it. The events kind of escalate quickly, but we're still going back and forth because Vince has to take him out in order to save his brother. And after that's done, we know Mancuso is going to be after Vince because he took out his son. F up or not, because a code, and family is family, and father and son and brothers, they're going to stick beside each other. I didn't expect to feel so deeply when I watched this. I was so emotional. By the end of the series, I just was like, damn, it was so broken. We discovered that Vince, at a very young age, took action when his father was abusing his mother, and he unalives him, and how he's carried this secret for his entire life. He couldn't tell his brother because he didn't want his brother to look at him like a monster, but he knew in that moment he had to protect his mom. And so really, when you look at who Vince was, it all began to make sense. He's been this man who's really hated the sight of himself because he did this thing that he feels like deprived his brother of X, Y, or Z. So he spends his life finding ways to numb that pain, whether it was gambling, whether it was drugs, whether it was any of those things. And I just really like the idea how we understand that Vince was so talented and he had all of this ambition, all of this possibility in him, and he sabotaged it at every turn because he didn't feel as though he was worthy of that. I feel like everybody who grew up in a family in some way has experienced either a Jake or a Vince, and I really enjoyed how they humanized him, because although Vince caused all of this chaos, Jake wasn't perfect either. Although Jake was the good brother and the dutiful one and the one you would think would do the right thing, he was faced with moral issues where he wasn't found correct, in my opinion, right? He was found wanting in those areas, especially with the SA, with Jules, with the cover up, with keeping the tape, with accepting money, with doing all of those things. We were faced with that. We find out that he had entertained a 21-year-old hostess. He let her talk on the microphone. And so he wasn't perfect as well, but he had this facade. And ultimately, these are both broken men who are really just trying to navigate in the world. And the dynamic between this brotherhood, I think, was so interesting, because when you're with each other, I can hate you, you can get on my nerves, but when it comes down to it, I'm still going to ride for you. I'm still going to do whatever. No amount of money, no damage to my car, no risk to my own life is going to stop me from coming through for you. And it's just really deep until we finally get to the last episode and we get this standoff. And it's this, everything's out on the table now. I've told you everything about the past, and Jake giving Vince this understanding of, like, no, I've always known. I wasn't asleep. I was right there when it happened. And Vince feeling this burden kind of lifted, but then at the same time, I'm the reason you're even going through this right now. I'm the cause for all of this harm that's happening, and I'm not going to continue to put you through that. And all the while, Jake is like, here's what we're going to do. Everything's fine. You're my number one priority right now, and I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of. Because throughout the course of these last episodes, Vince's daughter gets kidnapped by Mancuso. We have a face-off with Mancuso. Vince is just really smart. So we end up again with this bag of money at the end. Jake thinking about the next plan, how I can get you. I'm going to talk to the beard that connects on both sides. We're going to get you out of here and all of the things. And we watch as Vince self-eliminates. And it was just the most shocking to me and heartbreaking. And maybe it should have been predictable. I know some people have said that, but I didn't get that at all. I really was surprised because, mind you, he's got a bag full of money and he was running for his life. He had this desire and this will to live, but it's almost as if once he unburdened himself, he knew he would still perpetually mess up Jake's life. And it was heartbreaking. The emotion that you feel when it happens, the shock and awe of it, and then watching Jake afterwards and how he has to rebuild his life and really make some different choices. Because like I said, outside of the essay, Jake slept with his best friend's girl. The best friend dies. You know what I mean? There's so many different things that are going on as the story within the story. And I think probably the most interesting part of the episode, or the finale of it all, was when Mancuso, who of course is the deaf gangsta who is behind all of this, and shout out to this actor because I think it was incredible and I love to see him signing throughout. I think we need to see more of this in our shows. But anyway, when he and Jake share this moment where he's there at the apartment looking for Vince, and Jake has to tell him that his brother has passed. And this is the first time we see Jake get emotional about the passing, and Mancuso just has to hug him. And they basically can share this brief moment of loss. He's lost his son. Even though his son was this F up, I'm still going to ride for my son. And then, of course, same with Jake and Vince. I really love the parallels. I love the chemistry of the cast. I thought this was a great series. Again, if you haven't watched it, this is available to stream on Netflix. Black Rabbit. Like I said, it took me maybe episode 1 before I was fully invested, but I enjoyed this so much, you guys. Drop it in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you shed a tear like I did. I'm a crybaby, so I'm gonna cry, but this really touched me. If you haven't already, please be sure to comment, subscribe, do all of the things, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thanks for watching.